Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are in the world, and welcome to another edition of the Living World of Darkness. We start our scene in the Sept of the Green on May 30th, early in the morning, after Callie had said her final words to Leah before they headed off into battle. Callie now sits and waits for the morning muster for all of the groups of Garou to get together and fight for being known as the Storm Eater. As she sits there, she sits with her quiver of arrows, separating the air arrows from the obsidian-headed bane arrows to prepare them for battle. Her bow conditioned and properly strung as she's sort of sitting antsy, her right knee is sort of bouncing up and down. She's getting the shakes at this point. Not necessarily from fear, but more like a horse, a racehorse, just before the big race. Though there is probably a hint of fear there. It's sort of undeniable. But she sits there with a very large creature, half obfuscated through its natural camouflage. We start our scene with a certain individual walking up to her.
And Wolfstinger, under normal circumstances, is a very intense and commanding person. But even those who are close to her probably haven't seen her like this in a long time. She doesn't appear capable of relaxing. In fact, she has been walking all over the sept, trying to get as much preparation done as possible. At this point, she's carrying a large sack full of stuff. Honestly, it's just a huge black sack. She is handing out battle supplies and what she can as if she were motherfucking Santa Claus.
Okay. Computer did it again.
Too long didn't read version of what I just said. Wostinger has been really on edge lately, and she has been handing out battlements and sept supplies as if she were Santa Claus.
Very well. Well, Kelly will notice the very intense woman near her and see.
Tracy's, which is the back way of the new school. I go out and go around there on Saturday or Sunday in the morning, you know.
Hello.
We've been having.
Shelby, I do believe you're muted.
Welcome back.
My computer. Sucks. Apparently, having up Facebook and Hangouts together is just not a viable option at this point. So, anyways, I believe the last thing that I managed to get through before the technical difficulties was Callie sitting there sort of trembling, her shoulders kind of shaking and her knee kind of bouncing up and down as she looks up at Wafstinger, who's handing out battlements like candy.
And as she finally finds Callie, she pretty much makes a beeline for her and starts digging through her bag of goodies, trying to find something. And she's not very apt at making small talk at this point. She just she looks through the thing and looks at Callie and she says, "You have your bow?
Of course I do.
Have your arrows?"
She holds up her her quiver with the nearly 70 different types of arrows.
She looks at the arrows and she says, "All right, got a backup plan for if you lose the arrows?"
She pulls out the fang dagger that Travis lent her.
Good. Got armor?
No, that I don't have.
No armor. And she looks through it once more. She looks through her bag once more. Might have something for you too then. And after a while, she pulls out a set of leather armor that isn't in the inventory list apparently. So I don't remember what it looks like. I think it has feathers on it though. Say very
It's black centurion style leather, sort of made in the Grecian style, maybe a bit Greco-Roman, hard to say, but it has the gold inlay of a Pegasus on the front, or the Black Fury sigil on the front, and Pegasus wings on the back.
Right. And this is the thing that she pulls out of the bag, and she starts like hitting it with her hand to get some dust off of it. It's been a long time since anyone's had to wear these.
Callie will stand up, and you can see that she's sort of dressed in she's wearing like a form-fitting Under Armour type shirt, like and a bit of and black hand wraps over her fingers, and wearing what look to be black like BDUs or military fatigues.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks at the armor and stares at it for a minute before taking it, and she then looks up to Wafstinger. Who wore this before me?
We've had quite a few Black Furies in our set at the time. I'm afraid both sets of this armor look the same, but it was either myself or a couple of our fallen friends.
Well, I'd like to think that this is one that you wore at some point. She smirks as she starts to put it on, and clumsily starts to try and lace it up, not exactly sure how it all goes together because she's never had to wear this type of armor before.
And I'm noticing that she's not perfectly sure how to put this armor on. Wafstinger will set her bag on the ground and begin helping her. It's not the greatest armor that exists, but it's armor of our tribe and it's lightweight.
I can feel it. And she'll kind of sort of knock at it with her knuckles and notice that it has a firmness to it that shouldn't match its material. Is this fetish armor?
Yes, it is.
And she'll kind of hold her arms out so Wafstinger can lace it up as she just kind of inspects it visually.
And she will lace it up, and she'll lace it up not so tight that Callie can't breathe or move, but she'll lace it up fairly tight.
Callie looks at it and sort of puts her hands on the collar and gives it a good tug to see that it's nice and snug, and then she turns her attention to Wafstinger. I've heard that you're going to be standing beside me in battle.
That's right. I'm going to be assisting your group on your assault. And she looks through the bag, and out of it, it doesn't even look like it can fit in the bag, so it can be assumed that the bag, too, is a fetish. As she pulls out the biggest axe Callie has ever seen.
Callie's eyes go a bit wide, and there's a certain look of weapon lust, I guess you could say. that can be a term we coin from this point forward, is weapon lust.
Mm-hmm.
But she looks at it and just blinks as she tentatively reaches out and then pulls her hand away at the last second before looking at Wafstinger.
The Labrys is so massive and heavy that it looks like it can only be wielded by somebody in Krynos, but Wafstinger slings it over her shoulders and holds it, not without effort, but she's able to wield this thing. She says, this should be sufficient. If not, she reaches into the bag and pulls out a clave. This one is engraved with the Black Fury's tribe symbol. It's slightly cool to the touch.
Callie sort of looks at it with a bit of wide-eyed wonder, but knowing that Wafstinger is an Athro after all, it's only fitting of her rank. I feel pretty good that you're going to be with us in battle. I'm not going to lie.
You should. I'd like to think that I'll be able to do what I can. She seems almost hesitant to say something. But
Want me to roll empathy on that?
Sure, if you want.
Well, if my computer doesn't die, because it seems like it wants to. Two successes.
You get a feeling that all of this effort, all of these weapons, all of this, Wafstinger seems to think she's preparing for her final battle.
Callie swallows hard because she knows that she was giving off that same vibe to Leah not too long ago, and there's a part of her now that sort of regrets doing that because now she feels how unsettling it can be. And she'll put on a smile that really doesn't exude confidence. It's definitely a put upon a mask, so to speak. You know, when Fighting, I've always felt pretty confident in myself, but I have to admit, the thought of having my mentor there fighting alongside me makes me feel 10 feet taller.
Good. It may not seem like it, but that confidence will do you well. And we're a good group. We have some excellent guru in the sept. If we can't defeat this worm threat, I'm not sure who could. And she smirks a bit.
Callie looks down at her feet and looks at her hands that are still shaking a bit. I'm really glad that I got to meet you.
I'm glad that I got to meet you too, Kelly.
You've filled a void, so to speak, that had been there ever since my mom passed away.
She actually looks, for once Wafstinger seems a bit shy, and she nods. You've done something similar for me.
Callie's not even going to try to attempt to hide it as her eyes get watery, and she just sort of lunges forward and hugs Wastinger probably around the chest as she sort of just puts her head against her.
And Wafstinger will hug her back very tightly. And she pats her back a few times before moving away. I had a guru son.
What happened to him?
She just frowns.
I don't know what exactly I signify to you, but when I go out there and battle at any point, it seems that not just Mega, not just Leah, not just Vale, not just my mother, but you're one of the people I want to be proud of me every time I fight.
Her grandson was getting married. She threw the whole thing at her.
Callie, I'm already very proud of you.
Remember, like,
It's my sincere hope that we all make it back from this. Because I'm not done learning from you just yet.
I hope so too. All of the guru and the sept are excellent people, excellent warriors. Even a single loss would be a tragedy. And as she says this, she begins looking through the bag again and grabs a second set of this armor. Have you seen Logan anywhere?
Not recently. I know that he is to fight alongside us too, and I don't know exactly how well the quartermaster would take this, because I know it's not a bow of our people, but I've heard that the Uktena have a similar bow to us, though it's more bound to the moon. But maybe, since he is also an archer, it would be wise for him to have one of these to go into battle with as well.
And she nods. I believe I will have to speak with one of the Uktena on that matter, but I'll see about getting it for him. Until then, make sure that he gets this armor and make sure that he's able to wear it.
Of course. I smirk a bit as she feels something kind of nudging her from behind. Tell me, Wallstinger, when's the last time you saw Cam?
The last time I saw Chameleon, I believe it was shortly after I introduced him to you. You can't be considering taking that tiny spirit into battle with you, can you?
Things have changed a little bit since I've come together with the pack. We've been and sharing it with him, and she smirks as the sort of the shimmering image behind her begins to change into that of a very menacing looking chameleon type monster.
So Wallstinger looks up at Chameleon, and she seems very surprised as she reaches a hand out. You've gotten very big, old friend.
Well, these kids have been rather liberal with the use of their spiritual essence. And I've learned some new tricks as a result.
Are you going to be standing with us tonight?
Of course.
I never thought that I would say this to you, but I look forward to seeing you on the battlefield.
My dear friend, you have seen nothing yet. And he smirks before fading out of sight again.
She grins. As he fades, she puts a hand on Callie's shoulder, and he says, "You'd better watch after her."
This embodied voice says, any of my children I watch out for, this one included.
And as he goes off into his typical enigmatic little jaunt, Wallstinger will look over at Callie. Impressive. I've never seen a spirit grow so quickly.
It's not just me. It's Heinrich, it's Emmett, and it's Dragos. They've all combined parts of themselves and given it to him. He boasts now that he's able to reshape reality in the Umbra. If I understand it correctly, that's no small feat for any spirit.
Reshaping reality. No, I've not seen that happen in a very long time.
Hopefully we'll get to see the extent of that power tonight.
She's practically had little kids crying on there because they're frosting on there.
And hopefully I'll be able to see what you're capable of so I can size you up for when it finally comes time for me to challenge you for Athro. And she smirks.
Stinger laughs. You're very capable, Callie, but you have a long way to go if you wish to challenge me.
I plan on not only challenging you for Athro when the time comes, but I plan on beating you convincingly.
I look forward to the challenge.
And maybe when this is all over and we're both walking back victorious, I'd like to test my mettle against you, in Hamid, of course, just to see if I can even hope to stand as tall as you do.
All right, then. I accept. When we return from this battle, and we will return from this battle. She seems unsure at that last part. Just the way that her voice wavers. We will train some more.
Callie sort of steps forward and she'll place a hand on the back of Wostinger's head as she just bumps her forehead with her own. Sort of a family thing she does between herself and Leah and Dr. Mega. She doesn't say much to that effect, but she hopes that Wofstinger gets the implication.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Callie bumps her forehead to Wostinger's in a manner that she does really only with Dr. Mega, Vale, and Leah. And hopes that the symbolism of that isn't lost on Wofstinger.
And Wofstinger doesn't move away as she does so, bringing her hands up to Callie's shoulders. Callie.
Yeah?
If I die in this fight, the Black Fury tribe, you have to take care of them for me. All of your tribe mates, including your kinfolk.
You think that there's no one better? No one that's been here longer?
Kelly, there is nobody better at protection than a Black Fury rune. And if I fall, that will be you.
I know I'm going to accept. I just promise me that you'll do everything in your power to make sure that doesn't happen.
If I have to sacrifice myself for one of the other Guru in the battle, then that's the way that things have to be. You're all young, and you have very, very bright futures ahead of you. But if I can, I'll make sure that everybody survives.
Just, please don't leave me if you don't have to.
I won't.
I know that name doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of meaning, but I would like to know what your human name is.
And she cracks a smile and she says, if I get out of there alive, if we both survive, I'll tell you.
She just gets this annoyed smirk on her face, like kind of figuring that's how she kind of figured Wosstinger would do it. And so she just kind of smirks and punches the other Black Fury in the shoulder. I suppose you wouldn't be a Fury if you weren't here to make things at least somewhat difficult.
What can I say? It's my job.
She lets out a deep sigh, and you can see that she's kind of tightening her fingers together to try and shake the tension out of them before she finally places a hand on Wostinger's shoulder. With your shield or on it, Wofstinger.
No.
there's
Sorry, what was that? After you put your hand on her shoulder?
With your shield or on it, Wasp Stinger.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I thought we said.
She's on commercial.
She ran for president.
Out of character, I don't know what that means.
It's an, sorry. It's an old Grecian saying that parents, siblings, basically family would say to a soldier off before going off to war that they were either to come home with their shield or on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Wasp Stinger will give her a stern nod and repeat it back to her.
Actually, had
And as she collects the bag, she turns to leave, taking a few steps in the opposite direction before turning back to Callie. She just looks at her over her own shoulder.
You want me to write like a religious book, like the person who makes science?
Alexandra Levenitus. And with that, she will continue on her way to finish preparations.
No. Yeah.
Callie's expression shows her face contorts as you can see, or anyone can see, a veiled expression of restraint as she is trying with all of her might not to let everything that's happening get to her. And so she sits back down and rests against Chameleon's obscured form and just sighs before putting herself into a meditative state to try and clear her head. And I think there we can end our scene.